Hello everyone, I'm Santiago, and today I'm gonna be testing Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4 on the GeForce GTX 1050 2GB. For performance monitoring, I'll be using CAM. If you want to download this software, there's a link down in the description. So Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4, I'll be doing 1080p, 1440p and 4K. To skip out those sections of the video, check the description below. So first of all, this game used to have a 30 FPS cap that we were unable to uncap due to how the game was coded. Many things were linked to the frame rate, so if someone found a way to uncap the frame rate, the game would have many issues. But later down the line, the developers just released a patch that allowed us to use 60 frames per second, either that or 30. So that's what I'm showing you here. First of all, on 1080p, I'm using the maximum settings, except in MSAA because it's very demanding. And you'll notice that I'm pretty much at 60 frames per second all the time. There might be a couple drops into the mid 50s, but that seems to be a thing with the game itself, because we got a lot of GPU power to spare. But remember, the game cannot go over 60 frames per second. Then at 1440p, I show you two configurations. First, I show you the lowest settings with the 60 FPS target, and you'll notice that sometimes the game drops into the mid 40s or the low 50s. Just when they use special attacks, there might be a lot of effects on screen. That makes the GPU usage spike very quickly, which means that the frame rate can sometimes drop very suddenly, which is very annoying in this game, because when you put the 60 FPS target in the options menu, you have to hit 50 to 60 frames per second. If not, the game will feel like it's in slow motion. So if you don't have a good enough GPU, for example, and put the 60 FPS option, but you are hitting 30 FPS, the game will feel in slow motion. So you have a 30 FPS profile and a 60 FPS profile made by the developers themselves. So yeah, in this case, it's not that stable. When there are a lot of effects on screen, you'll feel a very noticeable slowdown as long as the effect is shown on screen. Then I just crank up the settings to the maximum, except in MSAA, once again at 1440p, but I kept the frame rate at 30, so we have a more consistent experience. We don't have those slowdowns from the 60 FPS option. It stays pretty much locked at 30 with some drops into 29, so I just suspect that the game drops into 29.5 FPS very suddenly. It still feels like the game is running at 30, so the option works very well. And finally at 4K, it was impossible to be even close to 60 FPS, so I had to cap the game at 30 FPS and use the minimum settings in order to stay as close as possible to 30, but when some effects show up, the game can drop below 30 very easily. So in this case, I would recommend 1440p max settings with the 30 FPS cap, or 1080p max settings with the 60 FPS cap for the best experiences. But yeah guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you keep enjoying the video. Thanks for watching and see you next time.
きにしろ。さっさと呼べ。俺は木の葉の里を守ることに決めた。そして俺が火影になる。さっさと呼べ。さっさと呼べ。
ここだ。今しかない。ここだ。
こっちだ。さっさと呼べ。上出来だ。さっさと呼べ。 さっさと呼べ。
お待たせ。頑張って。
楽にしろ。こっちだ。きありだ。きありだ。いけるぜ。さっさと呼べ。
頑張って。
ここだ。こっちだ。メントンスサノーカグスチ。
お待たせ。
さっさと呼べ。
第2戦開始。
あとは好きにしろ。
いけるぜ。
遅い。
球戦開始。
あとさっさと呼べ。
こっちとら全力で拳で分かり合うのがお前とのやり方だからな。宇宙惑星ラ